Hey everyone, thanks for taking the time to join me in today's video. The topic is going to be on using a track saw in place of a joiner and a table saw. When you joint a board, what you're doing is establishing a straight edge along one edge of the board to where you can glue the two up seamlessly. That is one use of it. There's other uses where you would want to join a board, but normally joining is part of the milling process. You plane your lumber, then you joint one edge, then you take it to the table saw and rip it to whatever width you want. But you can use a track saw, which is basically a circular saw that rides along an aluminum track. And that aluminum track is just an extrusion that's really straight, and it's got little grippy foam tape under it and a splinter guard along one edge to help with tear out. Basically, you just take that rail, slap it down on your board, your plywood, whatever it is you want to cut, and then make a pass. And those rails come in all different lengths. And I've done another video on using the track saw for breaking down plywood, and you can check the description in this video for that. And I've also done two other videos on the Festool saw that I own, which is the TS75. And if you're curious about that saw, you can take a look at those videos. But there are all different makes. You can get into this for, I think, under $300 with the Grizzly, all the way up to $1,000 plus, close to $2,000 with some of the other options. So when it comes to what I most commonly use my saw for, it is jointing and ripping tabletop boards. A lot of them are either pine or oak. And in this case, we're going to be doing a demonstration using oak. And this is a 5/4 board. It's been planed down some, so we're at about 1 inch now. And one edge has already been jointed. So that's what I call the joining in the process, which is just sticking that rail down one edge to where you can make a full cut. And doesn't really matter what side of the board you use. You just kind of determine that from one board to the next. So I've just laid it down with the splinter guard close to the edge where I'd make that full cut and made one pass. Then the next thing you do is measure off that fresh cut side down to whatever dimension you need, or either to get the maximum width out of that board. Make a pencil mark on either end of the board. Then you take your rail with the splinter guard side and you align that with those pencil marks. And on the underside of your rail, there is sort of a grippy foam tape. And that really does a good job at keeping the rail in place while you're making your cuts. And as far as how I kind of have this all set up, we're on my radial arm saw station right now with the head of the saw just swung out of the way. There's a piece of a 1/2 inch or whatever it is, 1/2 inch insulation board cut to size, which is 19 inches, so it's plenty of room for all the boards that I use. That just gets laid down, your board gets put on that, the rail on top, and then you set your depth of cut to just cut through your board, and it cuts into the foam instead of your work surface. And then once that board is too cut up, you can just replace it. So with the rail in place, we'll go ahead and make that cut. Well, that wraps up all the steps required to get a jointed and ripped board with the track saw. And it works really good. I've done quite a few tables using this saw since I've got it, a whole bunch of tables. And each table, of course, has a lot of boards, so that is board after board of successful cuts. And it really does do a super good job at cutting a super straight and 90-degree cut, as long as you've got the saw set up nice. And right here the board's a little bowed, but you can see if I press that bow out that it is a nice seamless joint there. And what I do to kind of fix those bows, just as an extra little tidbit to the video, is when I do my glue up, it's basically just edge to edge glue up. But I do put a biscuit here, and then one in the middle. And that's not really for strength. I think that you're getting more than enough strength just in the glue line. The biscuits aren't really going to do but so much in this application. But what it does help with is alignment. It just pulls those bows out, and all the bows kind of average out, and the top will be flat enough in the end that when it's attached to the base, it pulls it all straight. So yeah, the biscuit joiner is really handy in putting together tops. But to recap the steps that we did, I start out with rough sawn lumber, and I plane it down to however much I want to plane it, and then lay the rail down one edge to cut the least amount off the board as possible, but to get a continuous cut all the way down the board. Then I measure down however far I want, whether that be to a certain measurement or just to get the maximum amount out of a board that I'm cutting, and then I flip the rail around and cut from that, cut right down that line, and that gives me a perfectly jointed and parallel board to use in my tabletops. And I know I'm going into a lot of detail in these videos, but that's just sort of the way they are. They're not meant to be just one of these fast-paced, entertaining videos. They're just sort of, I guess, teaching tools or whatever you want to call it, just for people to pull whatever they can out of them. If I guess I could condense these types of videos down to 2 minutes or so, but then it would just be a demonstration on something probably pretty boring. In this case, I can kind of ramble on and come up with things as I go, and I think that for this type of video, that is better. If I did this with big long projects, it'd be a disaster, and it'd be a epic 3-hour build video, so it probably wouldn't be all that fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you would like to see more videos like this, and like the farm table, the tapered leg I just recently did, you can let me know in the comments below. And if you have special requests about other techniques that you've seen me do that you'd like me to kind of focus on in a future video, you can also let me know that too. And one of the biggest requests on the channel that I've had is, can I do a video showing step by step a full farm table build? And that's sort of what I'm doing here, but just in a series of videos. But I think I probably in the future will do a farm table video where I make sort of a simple farm table that you can build from easy to get materials, and then probably do some sort of plans or list of dimensions to where people want to make that particular project, they can. And then I'd also try to build that project as simply as possible to cater to as many people as possible. And if you want to complicate things on your own, you can. But that pretty much wraps everything up for this video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and like I said, if you have anything to say, leave that in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more on the Festool TS75 track saw, you can click that video playing in the top left. If you'd like to see a track saw cutting down plywood, click the video playing in the top right. And if you're not already a subscriber to my channel, click the red subscribe button and you will get updates when I post future videos.